Welcome once again to this trip into the history of Warhammer 40,000 2nd Edition. I'm your humble guide, Bob. Let us begin. October 1993 saw the release of 2nd Edition through a 2-player starter boxed set for a price of £34.99. Adjusted for inflation, that would be the equivalent of £72.91 today. Essentially double the cost of all the prices you see throughout this period for an accurate comparison. Alongside the boxed set, there was the release of a metal/plastic hybrid Dark Angels tactical squad, a poster and a t-shirt, both featuring the cover artwork by John Blanche. As expected, this white dwarf was packed with 40k content. Included are articles on how to paint your free Space Marine, examples of other Space Marine chapters, and a detailed lore breakdown of the Space Marines, along with several pages of John Blanche artwork. Finally, there is a battle report between the Orcs and the Blood Angels, the poster boys of this edition of the game. You will see there is included an offer to mail order the forces seen in the battle report, which we will come to later. For now, let us start with the inside cover insert, showing some Dark Angels amongst some Gothic ruins, presumably in a field in Kent somewhere. After some ads, we come to the first article, the How to Paint Your Space Marine article. At 3 pages, including a scheme page, the article is short and pretty poor by today's standards. It alludes to more advanced techniques such as highlighting, but it doesn't explain how, nor does it offer any shading advice. As you can see, the final step is merely done. That was a step. I'd hate to think how many glazes of highlights it took to build up to what you see in the picture. The guide gives a very rough overview of the painting method. It doesn't even expressly recommend 2 thin coats to achieve a smooth finish. Painting at this time was pretty much trial and error, attempting to replicate what you saw on the pages as best you could. I don't even recall washes being a thing yet. Moving on, we see examples of other chapters for you to perhaps try and paint. The following article is a pretty extensive breakdown of the Space Marine lore. We see a breakdown of their origins, physiology, the Primarchs and specific units, including the rules and statistics for most. You will see through this series how Games Workshop included vast swathes of what would be Codex book content, and plenty of lore and rules for newly released units, complete with points costs, within the pages of White Dwarf. How novel. We also see an art piece by Mark Gibbons, my favorite artist of this period, whose work we shall no doubt look at later. The Illuminations article features 13 images by John Blanche, many of which are contained throughout the various books contained within the boxed set, along with a photograph of the man himself, looking like a boss. I won't comment too much here, suffice to say the Blanche's style has developed somewhat of a cult following in the community over the decades. The inaugural battle report for 40k 2nd edition is really quite something to read. You will see in this era's White Dwarfs just how much text there is to read. I also love the battle reports from this era. They all feature some narrative context, often with a brief piece of fiction, and contain very clear, easy to follow maps of the action, turn by turn. You could have nothing but the maps and still get an idea of how the battle progressed. Let us take a closer look at the Blood Angels army. It contains the following at 1500 points. A captain with very basic war gear, a tactical squad, a devastator squad, a terminator squad with a rhino, and a single dreadnought. Today that would cost you around £180 from GW. If you decide to play and collect for 2nd edition, remember that a good rule of costs is about £1 for every 10 points across the army. So a 500-point army should cost in the region of £50. As to the battle report itself, Captain Tijo's mind was destroyed by the Orc Weirdboy, giving the Orcs their precious mission objective very early on. However, the Blood Angels pull of a last-minute narrow victory by pretty much the last roll of the dice. If you can seek it out, I do recommend reading this battle report. Finally, we come to the special offers in the mail order catalog for this issue. Both armies assume you have the contents of the newly released boxed set. You can see that they are given for a slight discount. For the total of £184.99 back in the day, both armies featured in the battle report could be yours. Of course, adjusted for inflation, that would cost around £385.40 in today's money. The catalogue also contains some Space Marine and Orc miniatures you could order separately, and a final image of Space Wolves being ambushed by an Elder War host. I thank you for joining me this episode, and remember that only in death does your duty to the Emperor end.